uh, when you open WordPress, yeah, then you're on the dashboard. Just go to plugins, install new plugins, add new plugins, then click on plugins, then click on add new. You click on add new. Click on add new, and when you're on add new, now you're taking to add new, then search for elementor. Those are the first thing that you have to done once you get into WordPress. Search for elementor on plugins. Once you get to a dashboard, then install elementor. Website builder. It's installing. Those are the first thing that you have to do once you get into WordPress. You have to go to plugins, then add new plugins, then install elementor. It's installing. Let's wait for a couple of, I think my connection is a bit problem, but let's just wait for a connection. It's installing. Usually don't take this while, like it takes short period. It's installing. Just wait for it to finish to install. Once it's done, you activate it. Yeah, now it's installed. Then click on activate. Then you have to activate it. Activate it. Click on activate. Yeah, now it's done. It's added. Then you go to appearances. The next step, it's appearances. Then add the theme. When you get to appearances, you have to add the theme that you're going to build on. Then add new. Click on add new. You have to add the theme that says hello elementor, because we installed elementor, so we had to add hello elementor theme. This theme, you can use another themes, it doesn't matter, but for this one tutorial I decided to use hello elementor. There are a lot of themes you can decide to choose on. We're installing the theme now. Installing a theme now. The problem is with my Wi-Fi. The reason why it's taking too long to install. This usually take like 1 minute. It's done. But it will get done right now. Yeah, installed. Click on activate it again. activate the theme now. To activate the theme, yeah, the theme is activated now. You can able to customize. Then go to pages. Then you add the new page. You create a new page. Go to add the new page. We're creating now a new page. Just click next until you get started. Give your page a header. So this one I will call it home. I will call it as home page. It's a home page. Then you publish. Make sure you always publish. It's publishing. Then you edit with elementor.
Right, so we've gone and created that section. Okay, so we just hit the plus icon and we create the single section with no columns, just a single column. And inside our section settings, as I mentioned, you've either got boxed, which has a left and right margin, or you've got full width, which stretches across the full width of the screen. Okay. Then there's a number of other options, but as we sort of go through it, we're going to look at these options, we're going to go through it, but I'm just going to be showing you guys some essential options now. Okay. After the layout, we've got style. Now, this sort of setup that we have here of layout, style, advanced runs true all the way through all of the elements with Elementor. Okay, so know that if you add an element, you're going to have options like this to make those types of changes to that element. Okay, so if we go into style, we can see here we've got background, background overlays, borders, shape dividers, typography, and so forth. And in advanced, we've got some motion effects that we can add to certain elements, some padding and margins. You guys should be familiar with padding and margins from last year, right? Your little bit of Dreamweaver or HTML and CSS that you did, your responsive options and so forth. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with the banner section at the moment. All right, so now another thing that you always need to keep in mind is that what we've done is we've created a section. Now the section is this entire blue row that you can see highlighted. But within that, you've got a column, all right? And these two can be changed independently. So your section can have certain settings and your column's going to have other settings. So when I click Edit Column, you'll see my layout options change. And now I can go and add additional styles and so forth to the column, which won't affect the section. All right. But if I want to now work with a large sort of banner, which would inevitably be a background image, I'm going to be working within this section. All right, so I'm going to click on my those 6 dots once again to get into the section edit. I'm going to go into my style, and here in background, I'm going to choose a background image. Okay, so as you can see here, you can choose classic, which is going to be either the color or an image, or you can choose a gradient, you can choose a video, or you can choose a slideshow, which will be multiple images that are sort of running through. We're just going to stick to a static image for now. Okay, so I'm going to click on the choose image option here. All you do is you click in that block. As I mentioned, I grabbed a few images now from Google quickly. So I'm just going to click, drag and drop them into WordPress so that I have them when I need them. Okay, So this one I got because it's landscape, and I can use it, I think, relatively nicely in a banner. So I'm going to be sure that I have that one selected. You'll see the tick. If it's deselected, it's like that. If it's selected, you'll see it's got a little tick mark next to it. Yes? Yeah, click on classic, and then you'll see the image below that. Yeah. Okay, so once you've got that selected, we'll hit Insert Media. And that goes and adds that into our section. All right. So when it comes to background images are great for banners, but a person then needs to go and manipulate the padding within the section so that you can actually see the image itself. All right, so we're going to go and do that now quickly. So what I do is I make sure I'm in my section options. I go into the advanced tab, and here's my padding. Okay, so normally it is linked. So when I make one change, it's going to change it to the top, right, bottom, and left. So I'm just going to unlink that so that I'm just making changes to the top and the bottom. All right, so the idea is to expand that open so that you can see the background image for the banner. Okay, so top I'm going to increase to 180, and bottom I'm going to increase to 180. Okay, so as we can see there now, we can see our image, and we can see our, this is our column still that we can go and still make changes to or add content to if need be. But this is now the image that we've got in our background. All right, obviously we can go and change that and increase the size even more. It can be 200, it can be 180 by 200, it doesn't matter. Okay. Another really cool thing about Elementor is, as you can see just above the padding numbers, you can change your properties from pixels to ems to percent to rem. So you've got that responsive option available to you as well. Right. Okay, so we've got that set up, great stuff. Now, I don't want this image repeating. I just want the one image. And as we know, when it comes to background images, they like to repeat. So I'm going to head back into my styles, and that's where I created or added my background image. And just below that, we can now see we've got a bunch of other options here, which is position, attachment, our repeat, and our size. Okay, so repeat. No repeat, please. Okay, and there it goes and takes my repeat away. Now what I need to make sure is I want to have that whole section covered, right? So we use the size of cover to fill that section. Great stuff. And now what we can do is we can go and manipulate the position of the image, because at the moment it's not very centered. So we can go to the position and we can ask it to be center, and we can see what that does. Cool. All right, so that's now center. Or you can go and change it to bottom center, but then you're just going to see the feet. So all depending on what it is you're trying to achieve with this background image will depend on the positioning that you choose. All right. So I'm going to go and increase my banner padding even more so that I can see the entire image. Head back to my advanced. Change this to 250 by 250. Okay, still not. Okay, sure, that's fine. All right. So background images like to feed off of content that it has within it when it comes to dimensions, because they are relatively responsive and they don't understand really how big they should be. So that's now why we've added a whole bunch of padding into it so that it understands, okay, there is something happening in the inside. Another option that we can do is we can go and add what's known as a separator in there if we're planning on not having any content inside the banner itself. So for us to do that, we would just head over to this, this sort of grid menu option inside our left sidebar, just at the top there. You click on that grid, and that will take you back to the elements that you can add. And inside the elements, you can either go through them and look for it, or you can just go and type a search for the widget that you want. And what we are looking for is a spacer. Okay, so we're going to grab the spacer, and all we do is we drag and drop it into that block. Okay. Now, as you can see, our spacer over here has also got options, and these options are also adjustable. Okay, so then a person can go and revisit the margins and padding. You guys don't have to. I just want to show you this for demonstration purposes. I'll take that out, 300, 300. Okay, my padding. But I'm going to head to my spacer, increase my spacer like that. Okay, but ideally it's better to stick with the padding option of 300 by 300. So a better practice. Cool. All right. So we've added a spacer in there, but remember we can add anything in there. If there's a column there, you can add any of these elements or these widgets within that section. So ideally, we don't want to now because we've got this banner has got text sort of in the image itself. It's flattened in the image, and it's got a nice illustration. So we don't really want to place anything on top of it, I don't think. What do you guys think? Don't need to.
Just experiment.
I can. All right. So once you're happy with that, right, you must also always update in the bottom left-hand side in green. You need to click on the update, which will then go and save those changes that you've made. And then below that, just next to the update, you've got a little eye icon, and there you can go and preview changes. So if you click on that, it'll open a new tab for you, and that tab will then show you what it looks like so far. Sorry? Navigation. Cool. Okay, so if we want to go and add a nav, there's a bunch of options that one has. One must just bear in mind that you're rather limited with the free version of Elementor. Okay, so what I'm doing here is inside the front end of the site. Okay, you guys will see that in the top, next to the dashboard option, there's a customize link. Okay, so we'll click on that customize link, just so that I can show you guys what we have there. All right, and inside that customize link, you've got a few elements there. Site identity, that's basically the name of the site. You've got menu, but we don't have a menu set up yet. Essentially, your menu is going to be your nav, but we don't have that set up yet. And then we've got our header and footer. Now, that's seen as your navigational component inside Elementor. Okay, so click on header and footer. and then it says Start Here. We just click on the Start Here button, and now it's going to take us into a sort of new editor, which is directed towards the headers and the footers of your website. Okay, so if we just scroll down a little bit, you can see here's our header section and there's our footer section. So we click on the header section, and here you can now go and select sort of what is viewable within that header section of yours. Okay, so at the moment we don't have a site logo, but you can show a site logo if you have one. This is now just the name. You can hide the tagline if you don't want the tagline in there. You can hide the menu if you don't want the menu in there, but I would recommend you having a menu in there. You can go and change the width again to either full width or keep it boxed. Let's scroll down to site logo. Okay, so here you see you can change from title to logo. So this is title, which is that at the moment. If you say logo, we don't have any logos added yet, so it doesn't understand or it can't display anything as of yet. Okay, and then within the menu section here, we don't have a menu as of yet. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to go and create a menu still, and then we will add that into our header. All right, but we will still get there. Okay, let's just get back to building this layout, and then we will head back into setting up our headers and footers and so forth when we're finished. Okay, all right, so now we've gone and set this banner section up. Okay, we know that our header is going to be up here. Our header is going to consist of our logo, which is going to be replaced by this, or this is going to be replaced by our logo, and then we're going to have our nav elements running alongside it. Okay. This home title, however, we don't want. All right, because that's just not part of our design, obviously. So in Elementor as well, at the very bottom where you hit update or for your publishing, you've also got a settings option in the far left. If you click on the settings, you can then tell Elementor to hide the title on the page. Okay, so there's a toggle switch that you can just hide that title off. Cool. So now we're not seeing that home anymore, and now we're just going to have a nice nav once we've set up our menu structure running on top. Remember to update, and let's keep building. Okay, so let's say now I want to, as I said, we're sort of using this site as an example. So I'm just going to copy this. I'll grab this first. Sorry, it's not the best example, but it's an example. Okay. And as you can see, that's just a single section once again, okay, a single column. So what we need to do is we need to go and add that again in Elementor. So we just click on Add New Section. We click on a single section over there. Okay, and once again, there we've got our section with the column inside the section. Okay. Now what we're going to do with this section is we're going to implement some content, some text. So firstly, we can go one of two ways. The second way is a bit more technical because it uses some code. So I'm rather just going to show you guys this way, which doesn't require the code. So what we do is we take a heading, okay, and we drag and drop it into our column. And we can then go back to our elements by selecting that grid navigation in the top, and then we can go and add text editor, drag and drop that below our heading. Cool. So now whenever you select one of these options, it'll open it up here in the left-hand side for you to go and make changes and edit. Right. So I want to go and change firstly this title. And this title is going to, you see I change it here in this block on the left-hand side. It's going to be that title that I've now just copy-pasted. And below that, we've got a whole bunch of text from this site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of this text. Okay, and I'm going to go and pop that in to the text section. You guys all with me? Great. So once we've added those elements, we can then go in and we can go and make changes to the title. Let's start there. All right, so if we want to change the title, we can go and make changes to that as at an HTML level, which is, at the moment, it's an HTML2 tag. So we can go and push that to an HTML1 if we'd like, because that's going to be our first title for the page. And then once again, we can go and change the alignment if we'd like. Just below that, you can go and select to be centered or to the left or to the right, as we are used to with our normal WYSIWYG editors. And then we've got a styles option as well, okay? And that styles option allows us now to go in and dig into the styles side of our site. Okay, so now we can go and change the color, all right? So I don't want it to be blue, I want it to be black. And I can go into my typography over there. And all we do is we click on the little pencil icon, and then it will drop down all of the options that we can make use of. So you can go and change up the font family that you'd like to use. I'm just going to go and stick to something normal like a Helvetica. We can go and make transformations as well. So as you know, we can do all of these types of things in CSS, but we can now just do this using Elementor. So with the transform, we can go and set everything here to be uppercase as well for the title, let's say. And cool, let's stick to that for now. All right. We can also go and change the text size just by dragging and dropping the size slider. Okay, and remember, you can also change that between pixels and M's and rems. So if you're going to be working on a responsive site, then you can sort of stick to the M option, the EM option. Okay, so that's our title sorted out. Great stuff. And I'm just going to update that quick, and then I'm going to move over to my content. Okay, so the normal body text that I've got over here. So another really cool aspect inside Elementor, or inside most text editors nowadays, is you've got your visual side and you've got your text side. They refer to it as a text side, but that's actually your code side. So if you head into the code side, you can see that this is sort of the code within that text. And then if you go into the visual side, and this is just the text itself. Okay. So if you look at the site, it's, let me just select here. This has gone and taken some styling and added it into our text. Okay. For some reason, because we haven't added any styling, we haven't added any divs or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that because I don't want their styling within my website. Okay. So now once I've removed that, now I've got free reign. Now I can head back once again to styles, and I can go and change up my typography. I can change the color of my text. I can change the text layout. So the text layout is centered in that other site as well. And just going to make that, let's say, darker gray. Change my typography to a Helvetica as well. We can go and change the weight up if we'd like. If we want to go and make it a bit thinner, we can just change it to a 300. And there we go. Right, so far so good. I'm going to update and preview, and this is sort of what the site looks like so far. Okay. So as we can see in the site as well, this is very, our title is very close to our banner section. So all we need to do is we need to just head over to that section's settings. We'll just click once again on those 6 dots. And we go into our advanced option, and we just go and add a margin of top to push it down. Alright, so that it's not so flush against our image itself. So I just pushed it down by 40 pixels. Just update that. And then you see now it's got a little bit more room to lower the image. Cool. Right, and this other one also has a button. Contact us button. Alright, so let's go and implement that quickly. So once again, if we want to go and add more elements, we can go and head over to that grid menu in the top right of your sidebar, and we're going to go into button. Okay, so we've got a button option there. Just drag and drop that into the section that we'd like. Okay, as we saw, our button is laid out in the center, so we just go and set the alignment to center. We can go and name the button, or not name the button, give the button a title, give it some text. At the moment it says click here, let's say green button. Okay. So that's basically what you would go and name your button for. Those buttons can also have icons associated to them as well. So if you just move down a little bit, you'll see icons, and you can click on the icon library, and then you can go and select whichever icon is relevant to your button. Click on insert, and then you'll see an icon appear next to the button. Okay. And again, you can go and change up if you want your icon on the right of your text or on the left of your text. You can go and change the spacing between the icon and the text. You can change the button size itself. At the moment, I've got it set to small, so we can go to a large button, let's say, and you can see it's quite large. And also, obviously, the main component to a button is being able to link us somewhere. So as you'll see, here's your link option, and this is just where you would go and input the URL that you want that button to link you to take you to. Okay. If we head into our styles for the button, this is where we can go and make changes once again to the color of the button. We can change how the button reacts when we hover over it. So I'm just going to change this from green to blue so that the text that I have written in there makes no sense. And you can go and change the typography. We can just going to go and add a hover effect. So in the hover effect, I want it then to go green when I hover over it. So that way, see, it's a blue, and then when I roll over it, it goes green. Yes? Sorry? Did you miss that? Okay, so in your button itself, you've got your normal state and you've got a hover state. Alright, so the hover state will affect what it's going to do when you roll over it. And the normal state will be what it looks like as normal without any interaction. So you can add a hover animation as well, which is, they've got pre-built hover animations so that it can do all kinds of funny stuff. But I'm asking you guys please to work with it, be cautious with it, because it can make your site look really kitsch and gross if you just add all these different types of animations. As you can see, here's a hang. Doink. So luckily these aren't, they are relatively subtle, which is nice. It's not like heavy animations. Okay.
So,
Yes.
so in the button, how can we take the icon to the right-hand side of the text?
So in the buttons content section, all right, you'll see just below you've got icon position, and there it says before or after. So either it will place it before the text or after the text. Okay. Okay. Great stuff.